Good day and welcome to the Lilly Roddy Show, coming to you from the LRS studios here in Houston, Texas. Good to have you with me this week as we look at what's going on for September the 7th through September the 13th, 2014. Coming up for this week, we have a long void of course moon from Wednesday till Thursday evening, so keep your plans for Thursday simple. We also have a very long void of course moon on Saturday evening through Sunday of next week. The 9th and the 10th are strong Neptune days. We'll want to be much more laid back on those days. Also in September, fall begins this year on the 22nd at 9:29 p.m. when the sun enters the sign of Libra. And we have an upcoming Mercury retrograde starting on September the 28th through October the 30th. If you have cars to buy, new smartphones to buy, or signing for a house closing, try to get that done before the end of September. If you would like to get in touch with me for questions, comments, or to schedule a personal session, you can reach me at lilyroddyshow@aol.com, lilyroddyshow.com, or find us on Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest. Be sure to look at the Lilly Roddy Show. Let's see what's going on for next week. Sunday, September the 7th, the moon travels through Aquarius, the sign of the humanitarian, as our day begins. However, she will become void of course in Aquarius at 12:19 p.m. and remain so until early evening when she moves into mystical Pisces at 6:47 p.m. Our first aspect of the day, the moon squares Saturn at 12:32 a.m. This is a good time to be preparing for the next day, and we're feeling a bit detached. The moon squares Mars in the early afternoon, 12:19 p.m. We need some wide open spaces at lunchtime. Make sure you're doing exactly what you want to do. Our emotions are on edge, and we're feeling a bit defensive. The moon is now void of course in Aquarius at 12:19 p.m. until she enters Pisces, the sign of the poet and the lotus eaters, at 6:47 p.m. We are much more laid back this evening. And finally, the moon opposes Venus at 11:38 p.m. This transit indicates a good time to do any kind of spiritual cleansing work, even though it's very late in the evening. Our emotional needs are very pronounced this evening. This is a great time to be with someone who is very special in your life. Monday, September the 8th, the moon resides in Pisces, the sign of intuition and inspiration for the entire day. Early in the morning, the moon conjuncts Neptune at 4:09 a.m. This time of day is a great time for this combination of planets to occur. Typically, this can be a time when we would want to retreat or make sure that we have time to ourselves. Since Neptune is the ruler of dreams, this is a wonderful time to be sleeping and dreaming. This may give us a slow start for the morning. The moon sextiles Pluto at 12:15 p.m. By lunchtime, we're feeling more energized and trying to make the very best use of our time. This is a great time to be able to put your cards on the table and feel safe in doing so. The moon opposes the sun at 8:38 p.m. This is the full moon in Virgo, traditionally referred to as the harvest moon in the northern hemisphere. The harvest moon is the full moon closest to the autumnal equinox and signifies a time of harvest. Since this full moon stimulates both the sign of Pisces, the sign of spiritual oneness, and Virgo, the sign of the organizer and fixer, it will stimulate us to get our lives in order for the upcoming winter. Tuesday, September the 9th, the moon begins her journey in selfless Pisces as our day begins. However, she will become void of course in Pisces at 2:09 p.m. and remain so until early evening when she moves into adventuresome Aries at 6:33 p.m. Plan your activities before or after the void of course period. Our first aspect, the moon trines Saturn at 12:18 a.m. This transit indicates an opportune time to get your head and heart in alignment. If you're up late, you're trying to make the best use of your time. In the afternoon, the moon trines Mars. During the afternoon, we're feeling energized and ready to take on some new task or adventure. It's a really good time for meeting someone or meeting with new clients and making a good impression on someone. The moon is now void of course in Pisces, the sign of large inclusive boundaries, at 2:09 p.m. until she enters Aries, the sign of the warrior, at 6:33 p.m. Once again, it would be wise to plan events before or after the void of course moon time. We are much more energized later in the evening. Mercury squares Pluto today at 5:38 p.m. Essentially, our communicator, Mercury, and our transformer, Pluto, join together in this transit to ferret out whatever information is necessary to uncover the authentic motives of the people around us. All of us will be much more questioning and suspicious of what people say and do. And this will be particularly true if what they say and do are not in sync. These energies are very useful for doing research, sharing your views about reluctance and intimacy, and allowing us to speak from the heart and from our own truth. This aspect is in effect today and tomorrow. And finally, in the latter part of the evening, the moon enters headstrong Aries at 6:33 p.m. We're more grounded with the moon no longer void of course. Wednesday, September the 10th, the moon transits Aries, the sign of ambition and enterprise. Although she is in Aries for the entire day, she does become void of course around sundown, around 7:58 p.m. She will remain so for the rest of the evening and for all of the daylight hours on Thursday. This void of course moon time frame will last just over 24 hours, so get your errands done before she goes void of course at 7:48 p.m. The next couple of days are busier than usual with several planetary combinations occurring in addition to our busy moon aspects. Venus opposes Neptune at 5:51 a.m. This is a heavy-duty energy to start our day on Wednesday. This planetary combination has been in effect for the last couple of days and will be strong all day today. These energies are better suited for sitting at the lake house or beach house, just relaxing and taking in the beauty of nature. Take your time this morning as you won't feel motivated to get your day started. Stress and drama could take a big toll today. Avoid what you can. In the early afternoon, the moon squares Pluto. We are jolted back into consciousness, and despite how we feel, we're compelled to act responsibly during this time. Our emotions are edgy and could be explosive. If you feel like you have to let your emotions out, don't hold back. Mercury sextiles Jupiter at 1:37 p.m. Now, this combination of planets helps with our communication skills, marketing plans, and any other kind of big picture process that we need to work with. We seem to be able to communicate with people easily today, especially in the afternoon. It's a very good energy for business, writing, or community activity, and this aspect is in effect all day. About mid-afternoon, the moon trines Jupiter at 2:22 p.m. Now, this aspect improves our ability to get to the point quicker and to make certain that what we are doing really benefits us. This is a great combination for energy. This is a great combination of energy for almost anything that you want to do. It's a great aspect. A little bit later, the moon opposes Mercury at 2:25 p.m. Communications are us. The energy of this transit indicates a wonderful time for business meetings, meetings with clients, reading at home, talking with your family members. We will be a lot more chatty than usual and feel comfortable talking about any topic. In the early evening, the moon conjuncts Uranus at 7:58 p.m. In the evening, we've had it with interacting with people for some sort of reason or purpose, and we're definitely looking for a change in our routines. You are feeling very real and authentic in any expressions of your feelings during this time. This can be a testing time for relationships that are not doing well. The moon is now void of course in Aries at 7:58 p.m. and will remain so until late Thursday evening at 8:17 p.m. when she moves into Taurus. This will be another one of those long void of course moon time frames, a little over 24 hours. It might cause most of the day on Thursday to not be very productive until the evening hours. Keep your agenda flexible until then. Thursday, September the 11th, the moon begins the day void of course in pioneering Aries, where she will remain void of course until 8:17 p.m. when she enters determined Taurus. This is a long void of course moon time frame of 24 hours plus that started yesterday. Let's look at our only aspect for today. The Sun sextiles Saturn at 10:04 a.m. Since this aspect is in effect for a couple of days, this is a really good time for organizing our long-term goal planning, especially focused on career or job security. If the moon were not void of course, it would be a great time for job interviews, taking some decisive steps toward making yourself feel secure. Take some notes and be prepared to put your ideas into action later in this evening or into tomorrow. And finally at 8:17, the moon enters stabilizing Taurus, and we all feel a lot more grounded. Friday, September the 12th, the moon occupies Taurus, the sign of persistence and determination, all day. The moon sextiles Jupiter at 6:17 a.m. We're taking our time this morning as we get ready. We feel a little bit more philosophic about our lives and what we expect for ourselves. Give yourself plenty of time to get ready this morning because you won't want to go. Closer to lunchtime, the moon trines Venus at 11:09 a.m. All of us are in a good mood as we approach the lunch hour this late morning. It's a very good time to work on improving any type of relationship, business or personal. And this is a great time for chocolate. I think it's always a great time for chocolate. In the afternoon, the moon trines Pluto at 3:21 p.m. We're more focused later in the afternoon, and our focus is on doing practical things to improve our sense of security in our lives. If you're in the sales profession, be sure to approach people with realistic and useful information. They will be open to what you have to say. In the early evening, the moon squares Jupiter at 6:06 p.m. This transit provides for a nice evening to get away from our routine, enjoy a movie or dinner, or just drive to the beach. We feel very upbeat, but only for those things that truly feed us. Saturday, September the 13th, the moon moves through security-loving Taurus for the entire day. However, she does turn void of course at 8:31 a.m. and will remain so for the rest of the day until the early hours of Sunday morning. This void of course moon time frame will last about 17 hours. Since it's so long, try to accomplish things as early in the day as you can. Mercury opposes Uranus at 3:16 a.m. With this aspect in place since yesterday, all of us could be feeling a bit nervous and having a hard time sleeping. Or we could just be overthinking everything we are doing. Although this planetary combination gives us an extra sense of heightened intuition, you will want to keep your options open with this aspect. If you are attracted to something, then follow it. If it makes you feel trapped, run away. The moon opposes Saturn at 5:24 a.m. The bugle goes off, we jump to our feet, and our day gets started. There's a lot to do and we don't have a lot of time to waste. Be careful not to eliminate the things in your life that really give you pleasure, even the small things. In the early morning, the moon trines the sun at 8:31 a.m. This planetary combination helps to smooth out our morning and allows us to enjoy what we're doing rather than just doing our duty. We feel upbeat, and typically this is a good time to meet with friends or clients. The moon is now void of course at 8:31 a.m. and will remain so until Sunday morning at 1:26 a.m. With the void of course moon during the work hours, keep your expectations and agenda very realistic. Work at a constant pace and don't push yourself beyond your natural endurance. And finally, for the last part of the week, Mars, planet of exploration and adventure, enters Sagittarius, the sign of the truth seeker, at 4:57 p.m. and will remain there for approximately the next 6 weeks. Mars in Sag should indicate a time of speaking and acting on your own truth. Mars is a physical energy and needs physical expression. This could be a very good time for getting out in nature, doing some hiking, or confronting the religious bigots in our lives. This is a very good time to start your new project, but be careful that they don't get bigger than you had planned. Well, that just about covers it for the week of September the 7th through September the 13th. Join us next week as we look at September the 14th through September the 20th. And if you haven't taken time, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get a notice in your email when our show is posted on YouTube. This is the Lilly Roddy Show, coming to you from the LRS studios here in Houston, Texas, reminding you to keep those stars in your eyes. Bye-bye.